Hiya everyone. I've just found out one of my old sketchbooks, which is a fairy tale one. I used this when I was teaching as a resource, and a lot of the things are quite personal. The flowers that you can see on the front here were actually from my wedding bouquet. So they're my bouquet of flowers that I pressed and varnished onto a canvas to preserve them somehow. But unfortunately I keep getting little creatures on there, so it's not good. There's quite a few throughout the book that I've sort of squashed into, and yeah. So I use this as my fairy tale book. So this is like my sort of fairies inspiration and experiments and stuff that remind me of fairies. So there's lots of things that started off just basically ink on tracing paper or ink that's just been splashed, then I've drawn into it, and underneath here you'll find random texture, and that's just been created by using cling film and PVA glue, and you scrunch it up, and then when it dries you just peel off the cling film and you're left with a rough textured surface that you can draw into. Also, I use a lot of acetate in my books. This is when I had a sewing machine to use and I was stitching into everything. Again, ink, and also I've layered it there with some pastel too. You can see there's lots of things where I've cut out, and let's just find it there. That's another layer of something. It looks like acrylic paint and silver paint there. It's different things, and then I've cut holes in the pages, my usual things really. And here we go, some just information about what I've done and the techniques I've used. It's just really about trying to think of ways of making the page really interesting. You know, sort of like, this is quite personal with me because I am quite an open book. I am somebody that I don't really hide things. I'm just sort of like, what you see is what you get. Again here, this was my favourite page because it really just started out as different coloured inks splashed onto the page, and gradually I saw patterns developing in it where I would draw into the pattern, and I saw a face appear. It was like, oh, you know, where that hair is, it was like a dark purple, so the face sort of like came out from there. And that's what with art, that's what you do in your sketchbooks. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't be afraid to try and just work from your imagination, because actually things, if it's hard to come up with an idea, just do something completely random and work from that. Just start from a splodge of paint, or start from a little bit of scribble. You know, you just gradually work from one thing and it develops into something else. So here you can see I've done a bit of cross-hatching pen, some circles inside there, weird and wonderful, you know, a bit strange art I've written in there, look. And here I was looking and I thought, oh, this looked like something bending over. There's the head. And on the other page, that's what I did, look. I managed to make a fairy on this side, look, using pen, as you can see. And that made that page interesting, you know. And that's not that I've come up with that idea. It just happened that I could visualise the fairy on that page from the back. This is from the work of Brian Froud. Now his work is amazing. I love Brian Froud's fairies. If you're into sort of magical fairy tale things, definitely look into his work. It's brilliant. But what I did is I cut it out. I printed this off. It's obviously his work, not mine. And I've cut around it, used a bit of acetate, stuck it to the acetate, and that's it. Made a little window out of it. So it's pretty cool. You do this, you find things, not just materials, because I know I find a lot of materials that inspire me, but I also find artworks that inspire me and artists that inspire me, and I might draw from their work as well. So that's like a drawing from his work. Here we go, I've got a bit of tracing paper and I've just traced over it there, look, just to add a little bit of something to it. And then Here again I've got some of my wedding bouquet. This here is actually from my bridesmaid's dress material that my mother-in-law made, the bridesmaid's dresses, and this is some of the material she used. So this is actually the material from my bridesmaid's dresses. How brilliant is that? And I've actually drawn into it and layered it up. Anything really that sort of make me think of fairies, because it's very magical, and is some more of my bridesmaid dress material again. I think the colour is a very nice colour. It's more of a dusky sort of purpley, like purple colour. Again, layering tracing paper over some ink splats that I did, and then drawing into it. Look, doesn't have to look like anything, but again, look, I thought, there looks like an eye, that looks like a bit of a nose. Even though it's a bit strange, it sort of works. And again, more of my flowers. Lots and lots of stitched work going on. Here's, again, to remind myself of fairies, I've used acetate. Be careful when you're using a sewing machine on acetate and layering too much, because you can break your needles quite easily, as I found out. But so this is I think I used ink on some, what did I use the ink on now? Oh yeah, it was tracing paper. Then I cut it out, and you know, I didn't draw anything representing anything. It was just random marks. And then I've stitched onto it, and stitched onto the acetate. A bit of plastic there that I've melted a bit and made holes in and stitched in. A lot of my work is like this. I make the basis of the pages. I might do some drawings on these, you know. Just go through my book, and I noticed that there's a lot of experiments going on, but there's also how I've cut out pages, how I'm preparing the pages to work onto. So as you can see, this book is nowhere near done, but it's a start, and that's what I do. If I get some tea bags, I tend to go through a lot of the pages and try and sort of work on all of them to try and get some. So now we've kind of got a lot left over, but yeah, so that's that book. I just thought I would show you, see what you think. But I do think that it's nice to have sort of different themed books going on, like I have here. Like, you know, I've got my medieval book, which is everything that's medieval. Here we've got the fairy book. Here I have another one which actually has my drawings in, my arty sort of actual drawings that I could sell in. And so, you know, there's always going to be, these are the experimental books, and then you might have one that's just filled with detailed, intricate drawings. So just keep going, guys, because honestly, don't be afraid to use pen throughout your book. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't be afraid to have one page that doesn't look great. Just keep going. Just keep going. You're developing yourself, and that's what's important. So, bye!